Everything came with a free Star Wars audiobook from Audible, like at the cantina.
I'll take a half-cap spotchka, lightweight.
Here's your free audiobook download for Master and Apprentice from Audible.
Or getting your pod racer serviced.
My pod racer needs upgrades to the coupling and stabilizer.
And here's your free audiobook download for Resistance Reborn from Audible.
Life in the galaxy doesn't work that way, but there is one place you can go where you can get a free Star Wars audiobook from Audible. And that's utini.com/audible. Click the Audible logo and start your 30-day free trial, which includes a free audiobook download. So visit utini.com/audible and get your free Star Wars audiobook download today.
I'm Rebecca Roanhorse, author of Resistance Reborn, and you are listening to the Living Force Podcast.
Welcome to the Living Force Podcast.
There will be a substantial reward for the one who finds the Millennium Falcon.
A Utini production.
But I want them alive. No disintegration.
Episode number 84, Star Wars Squadrons with Sage.
As you wish.
On this episode, the Mandalorian returns.
What if he doesn't survive? He's worth a lot to me.
New Thrawn book news.
He will not be permanently damaged.
And the Utini team talks Star Wars Squadrons with special guest Sage.
The value is undeniable.
And now, here are your hosts.
As you wish.
Eric Eilerson, Dr. Charles Henkel, and Wes Jenkins.
And on that, everyone, hello! Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever you're doing, and welcome to the Living Force Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Eric Eilerson, and joining me tonight are a couple of my very good friends. We are without Dr. Corey Helton tonight. He has a splitting migraine because life is hard, but we do have Dr. Charles Henkel. Hello, my friend.
Hello. How is it going, everybody?
It's going well. I was going to say, we're recording this Monday night. When you're listening to this, everyone, it's Thursday or Friday. So the election's done. So we'll see.
What are
hey,
things
Wes
like
is
in
here
the
too. Hey,
future?
man.
Hey, what's up? It's darker outside now, and my dog doesn't get it. He thinks that he should be fed a lot earlier than what the real time.
Same thing. Dude, Morton came up to me at 3 p.m. today, and I'm like, dude, ease up.
Talk to the farmers.
But-
it's not our problem.
Well, daylight savings time is hard. The world is darker. Hopefully it's metaphorically lighter. But regardless, we do not have Corey. We do have the melodious tones of the epic gamer master himself, Sage. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hello there. I didn't know I was an epic gamer, but here we are.
You are.
That's it.
You are for sure. That's why we have you on this episode, man.
Okay.
In case y'all missed the
I
title.
thought it was for my OnlyFans.
Well, we're going to let you plugs later. You can plug your own stuff later on in the show. Come on, you know how this works. Everyone, if you missed the title of this episode, we are talking all things Star Wars Squadrons, the game that has, frankly, taken over the Star Wars gaming world and a lot of the Star Wars world pre-Mandalorian, let's be honest. We're going to talk a little bit about the campaign. We're going to talk a lot about multiplayer and how it's kind of changed the scope, the landscape, if you will, and kind of what we want for the future of the game. But before that, a couple things in the Star Wars galaxy that we want to chat about. Gentlemen, this past week, a little indie show called The Mandalorian came back. That's right, we got to see. Yeah, I know. Did you hear about this? I heard it was pretty good. What'd you guys think?
I loved it.
It's from a small-time creator, small budget, tiny compared to other things.
Absolutely.
Couldn't get tickets into the Sundance for this one.
I would love that. I heard Charles and Wes, you and I were on Bounty Hunt. We raved about this. Sage, what did you think about the first episode of Mando?
Oh, dude. Loved it. Are we doing spoilers, or are we keeping it clean?
Yeah, we're a week out of that first episode. Why not?
Okay. Dude, Boba. Need I say more?
For real.
How? They did it.
But is it?
Boba twice. There's cosplay Boba in the front, and then there's the real Boba at the end.
For sure, cosplay Boba.
I love the idea of cosplay Boba. That would be great. Yeah, that last shot, I'm still, we all hear rumors, and because there are so many, we ignore all rumors. But so with the fact that we got Cobb Vanth in the episode, which was one big reveal that we heard about in the off season and stuff, the fact that we also then got the Tamura Morrison reveal, like, I'm still shaking about it, frankly. It was so freaking cool, and that the Crate Dragon, like, just the amount of stuff they packed into one episode of television was absolutely fantastic. And I gotta say, guys, agree with me if you want, or because it's my damn show. Wasn't it nice to see Star Wars like united again online? I feel like that's what Mando does.
Very much, yeah. It absolutely does, right? Whenever it comes back, everybody just like a sigh of relief comes out across the social media mediums. And then we also saw that they gave us a 55-minute or whatever it was. So
I mean, give me more longer episodes of Mando.
That's awesome.
It's not that much to ask. I mean, budgetarily wise, it's absolutely a lot to ask. But no, I think it's great, and it is nice for everyone to be like, that was good, right? Yeah, it was pretty good.
I would love to know how much 5 minutes of that Crate Dragon cost. Like, what does that cost per second to have on screen?
And like, what poor animator was like, all right, going to work is the third week in a row. I'm going to be working on the body textures of the Crate Dragon for 8 hours.
On the
sand. Here we go. Sand.
Someone out there really hates sand in addition to Anakin.
Of course.
Thanks to that show.
Rough. It's everywhere.
It was. But we did love that. And a quick plug here. For those of you on our Patreon, you'll see we did bring back our Bounty Hunt recap show. Those will be coming out every Monday, where we get together, we talk about The Mandalorian, we recap it, we have some silly times. And because of that, our Lightspeed Skipping Patreon show is on hiatus during The Mandalorian season, because that's just a lot of damn podcasts to record. But we will be back with that later on in the season. Speaking of our lovely Patreon, everyone, we got a bunch of new patrons this week.
Yeah.
So I want to, right? People still give us money to do this.
So nice.
That's crazy. But some of those crazy people do include the Lunch Society. Our very own Freddie C jumped on with Nate Wolfolk and Frank Opsal. Opsal? Opsal. That's right, Frank. You get the triple name. Everyone got...
if he's not in the next Mando episode, I'm going to be very disappointed.
That's going to be very sad. But thank you all for joining. Again, I know we say it all the time, but it never stops being special to see the names pop up. We really super appreciate that. And this past week, we got to spend some time with y'all at our Night at the Opera Patreon event. Charles, Wes, you were there.
Yes.
After some technical evolution on our part.
It's kind of you.
But that went pretty well.
It's very kind of you.
What'd you think?
No, it was great. It was great. It was classic Utini where we had a hiccup or two, but, most of our audience is familiar that we pushed through those moments and we end up having a good time, and we definitely did that night. I had an absolute blast. I did not even want things to wind up. Like, I would have sat there and watched the entirety of season 1, not just those couple episodes before the premiere. So I'm already excited for the next one, and we're going to be better about doing them like once a quarter. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It was definitely a lot of fun. And we sat, when we finally wrapped up, we had got together for 4 hours. It was a 4-hour.
Yeah.
It was a 4-hour get together with drinks and, obvious tech issues. That's not uncommon to Utini, but it was a real fun time. Next time, when you test with, I don't know, more than 10 people rather than 2, because the bandwidth doesn't go as far. Believe me.
Not quite. But we did have a great time. Thank you to everyone who showed up to that. And like Charles said, we are going to be better about doing those about every quarter for our Inquisitorious patrons and up. We're going to get together. We're going to watch some Star Wars. It was just a blast to do it communally. Because I know we text during The Mandalorian and, Discords and stuff, and people tweet and, but there is just something to hearing the voices and seeing the faces, and just a blast. So thank you to everyone.
Virtual movie theater.
Exactly.
Yes, because Mother of God.
Speaking of Mother,
I miss movie theaters.
Mother of
Speaking
God.
of Mother, shout out to Sally Eilerson.
Eric's
in our
mother
Alliance
was there
Command.
with us that night.
She
too.
was there.
That's the
and
new.
she still
That's the
loves
new
me.
thing that we're gonna say when something crazy happens. Mother of Eric. I should take. I wish this was live. I should take my glasses off as I say that. Mother of Eric.
Great, seamless.
Watch your damn mouth.
But it was so much fun. It was great to get that part again, and again reminds us of what makes this community so great. A couple things in book news now I want to talk about before we get to our Squadrons chat. Did you lovely fellas see that we got more High Republic news this week? Of course, we were all very excited about the High Republic Publishing Initiative. Oh, that's it, 10 times fast. That's coming out in the beginning of 2021. And this week, we got some character profiles about the villains, including the Nile, which are like our Mad Max, Reaver-esque villains. Mm-hmm. We saw the Drengir, which is like an evil sentient plant that Charles freaked out about. And we got Markio Rowe, who is the Eye of the Nile, who might be my new favorite character design. He's like a little bit of not Contra Club. What's the other gang in episode 7?
The Guavian Death Gang.
The Guavian Death Gang mixed with Sidon Ithano, the pirate. What do you guys think about these? I love how much art we're getting for this. It's so cool to see it.
Yeah. I want to keep the files up on my laptop all together so I can just pull them up while I'm reading, so I can really visualize this. But you brought it up, and I have to say again, the Drengir was by far the thing that I freaked out about because, I have enough things to be scared of in this world. Pandemics, possibly riots in the street after this election. Who knows? I don't want to be afraid of houseplants, okay? But that's what this did for me, and I thought it was fitting too that I saw this on Kevin Scott's Instagram, I think it was, or Twitter, for the first time. In one of his old comics, if I'm not mistaken, featured a sentient plant that was kind of evil. It was a Han and Chewie adventure, if I remember correctly. You remember this? I think is it Tales from Vader's Castle? I think maybe one of those.
Yeah, because they go to that planet and they age a bunch because the plant curses them with a witch curse the plants or something.
Exactly. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty fitting that I saw it coming from him. But I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, I can't wait for them, and I love the expansion they gave on the Nile. If you missed this post, it's over on StarWars.com and their High Republic part of their site, which is growing exponentially. But I liked how they talked about the Nile being a race that really has a lot of purpose, and they are vicious. I mean, the way Charles Soule described them, he's like, they will kill everything you love. They really seem like a competent, just truly dark enemy, and it's kind of fun in a sick way. I'll admit that to see this kind of new Star Wars race that's not the Sith. It's not based on this ancient sorcery kind of, essentially religious sect that the Sith could be, but it's more oh no, they are just a brutal race that wants to destroy and take over. And I think pairing that against what's meant to be thought of as the high point of the light Jedi is really going to be cool, I think.
Yeah, whatever it is, we have to fear them. It can't feel like a step back from the Sith, I think is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah.
So
that's the hardest part about this, man, is that everyone's always trying to live up to the Empire, right? I mean, every trilogy, every book, every game, no matter what you're fighting against, you always say, well, is it cooler than Darth Vader?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is why Fallen Order is all right, we'll just do it. But, I think the Nihil got a good shot about being something different and very cool. Very, very excited. Additionally, we got some information from our friends at Del Rey, because they're like, hey, have you spent a lot of money recently on books? How about we give you, the next Thrawn novel, which is going to be Thrawn Ascendancy, Greater Good, coming out on May the 4th. Way earlier than I thought it was going to come. I'll be totally honest with you. We got a beautiful cover image. It's red, which is cool, very Last Jedi-esque. The middle chapter is red and dark.
Yeah, that's true.
But I would argue more importantly, they announced a special edition of Thrawn Ascendancy Chaos Rising will be released this November, or for pre-order in November, for $150 American dollars. But it's a limited run, 750. They're all going to be signed, slipcased, and they have this exclusive art of young, hot Timothy Chalamet Thrawn. Did you guys see that?
It's an oil painting,
right? Yeah,
it is like an oil painting. He's a beautiful man.
So
I'm not even gonna lie to you.
The cover is just a normal cover, thick cardboard cover, like we would get another. Mm-hmm. It's not like a steel book or anything, right?
Yeah, I think the extra is just going to be the vinyl. I think it's vinyl or velvet. It's the slipcase.
Okay.
For if anyone has that giant Macquarie collection of double books, it comes in that big old slipcase. Some big comics do.
Well, Why do you think they
did
did
you guys
that?
think you're going to get them?
I mean,
Huh?
Why do you think they did that?
Oh, for money, Wes.
Did you hear the amount of dollars that he said?
I don't.
Money.
I don't get it. But okay.
There was a board meeting there, like, how can we sell this book that is $25.99 for $150?
So why wouldn't they do
but
that
the
with
thing is-
every other book?
Well, they should.
You know,
They should.
That's a great question, which actually leads me to the question I want to ask. I know that we aren't like everyone collects something. You know, people collect various items. Do you guys feel the desire to get this, to pick up this limited edition book?
I have the desire to see it on my shelf, but I do not have the desire to shell out $150 personally. It's a little too much for me.
There's the wallet side that's like, no. And then there's the side that says it's special edition, though. I personally would not spend that much money on a book, but
someone
if it's
should.
pretty enough.
Yeah,
People
someone
will.
should.
At least 750.
people will.
That's not
exactly
many,
it.
man. That
really
really
is.
is truly exclusive.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen. I mean, if you're in the Star Wars book buying Facebook groups or eBays or whatever, you'll see all these like science fiction book club editions of the hardcover Legends books that came out in the 90s and 2000s, and some of those go for like crazy amounts of money, even though people could just get them shipped. So I'm guessing this one might be something like that.
Yeah. So do you purchase this for a future like investment? Where you put it on eBay, where you throw it up on Facebook Marketplace, you're like, well, this is one of the special editions. Only 750 were made, so we're gonna boost it to $1,000. Do you want it or not?
Ooh, I'm a bad collector like that, dude. It's like I buy things and I'm like out of the box on my shelf. This is cool. Like my collection is buried with me like a pharaoh. Like I don't really think about reselling this stuff.
I like that Eric hasn't said that he would pay $150 for a book with like $3,000 worth of Funkos behind him on the shelf.
You know. Dude, okay, here's the deal. Real talk. If this limited edition Thrawn book also came with a limited edition young Thrawn Funko Pop when he's like in his Ascendancy like uniform.
Eric's over there like, charge me whatever. I will pay it.
Take my firstborn.
We can have a conversation. But hey, everyone, if you don't have $150 or don't want to spend $150 on a book you already own, they also announced that in honor of Thrawn's 30th anniversary from Heir to the Empire, they will be releasing an Heir to the Empire shirt for $30, I believe. And that was in an article, again, all on StarWars.com. And this was kind of cool because I know at Utini we love our Star Wars book shirts. Jose does an amazing job of designing them that are kind of like, you know, inspired by the books so we don't get copyrighted and all that stuff. But there is something to... right, we're on video and this is audio. Sage is repping his Star Wars Battlefront Podcast shirt. We love shirts. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but the official like old school Heir to the Empire cover with Sabalth like shooting lightning out of his fingers, that cover, they just put it on a shirt. And I'm like, okay, there's something to that. Like for our Legends fans, they don't get a lot of content anymore. Like a Legends cover shirt. That's pretty cool.
That'd be pretty cool to point out somebody wearing that in a crowd and be like, hey, love the shirt, man. Like, oh shit, somebody knows what this is.
Yeah. And then it's like, well, Legends used to be good and canon sucks.
Oh,
okay,
no.
bye.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Okay, bye.
I feel like most people are gonna see it and be like, oh yeah, I think I remember that Metallica tour. Like that's
It looks like a band tee. That's exactly what it is. Oh my god, love it. But if you're interested in those, again, everything's at StarWars.com. I'm so stoked that Thrawn is getting some love of like special edition stuff. Honestly, Del Rey, keep it up with like the special edition books, the colored pages. You know, like that stuff is so fun, and I hope that they keep doing that because I feel like there should be more of a push for the physical media of the book side of Star Wars. You know, like we don't get to buy movie tickets and Blu-rays of movies for a while now, and even the shows are all streaming. So just that physical media, I think it'd be fun to enhance, you know? Like, of all the High Republic books, guys, what is, like, one thing you wish they would do or wish they would bring back about, like, physical books that would make it a little cooler?
Leather bound.
Maps.
Ooh.
Oh,
Maps!
That's a good one.
Oh, God. I love opening up a book and there's just a giant, like, Tolkien map in the front. But then, like, let me take it out. Let me put, like, the High Republic space chart on my wall.
Yes.
That'd be good.
Oh. And maybe, like, also, like, the embossed covers. Remember all the Legends covers? Like, the Star Wars was always shiny and embossed.
Yeah.
We could do that. Anyway, you're welcome for that free advice, Del Rey. But if you're looking to buy any regular books, everyone, be sure you head over to utini.com, click the affiliate link in our profile, and head over to our new releases page where Frank is doing God's work, keeping track of everything. Coming up on November 10th, which is, oh my God, that's next week. So I got to write this review. From a certain point of view, Empire Strikes Back is finally coming out. 570 pages of goodness. And in January 5th, the High Republic novels begin. We're almost there, and I could not be more excited. So thank you, Frank, for all your work you do on that. And everyone, click those affiliate links. It's almost Christmas time. You got to buy your friends Star Wars books. That's what you guys are doing, right? Everyone on your list getting Star Wars books?
Sure.
I can't tell you. You're on that list. You'll see. You'll see.
I love Star Wars books. Thank you, Mr. Charles. All right, I'll stop that. I feel like I was in like a Muppet Christmas Carol. Charles, before we finally jump in and just abuse Sage for his expertise of Star Wars Squadrons, can you tell me a little bit about the book reviews we got this week?
Yeah, well, Sage is never coming back. But, yes, we've got a couple that we're going to do. The first one, I'll go ahead and read myself. It's short and it's sweet. It's from Bert C., and he's reviewing Death Troopers by Joe Schreiber. So great Halloween choice if you guys are looking for something scary. He gave it 5 stars, and he said, I don't know what the others were thinking, but it's a great book, especially for someone like me. Well, Bert C., you sound like a real sensible guy, and I like that. I also love Death Troopers. That's a wholesome review, and I love it. This is a great book. We did a review on this before we had the podcast. I think it's still on our YouTube. So if you guys do read it and are interested to see like early Utini days, you could go and check that out on our
Dude, that was
YouTube
2
page.
years ago.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it was a long
As
time
of
ago.
now.
It was
2 Halloweens ago.
Yeah. We do have one additional review. Sage, do you have access to this or no? Because I'm sure the people would love to hear your tones. If not, I will kick it to Wes.
Okay, where is this?
Oh, it's on the show outline doc. Oh, I don't know if I didn't send it to you. I didn't send it to him.
Okay.
You didn't send me
Wow.
the
It's
Zoom
my
link.
fault.
You didn't send me the outline.
I suck.
I'm
terrible.
If you didn't get
call
the
it. I'm
outline,
terrible.
were you even here? All right.
I don't know.
I'm terrible. No, he's just like Corey. You don't need to read the outline. You show up.
All right, Wes, we're going to have to settle for your southern drawl. You want to take this one from Paul?
Sure.
Howdy, y'all.
All right. Paul Matthews has read Canto Bight by various authors, and he gave it 3 stars. This collection of short stories tries to give some life to the background creatures and aliens of Canto Bight. There's an amount of charm to several of the stories through finishing all 4 of them can feel tiresome. I'd recommend this to someone if they like some enjoyable banter and occasional neat reference to make you smile. I wouldn't go too far out of my way for it, but it's neat enough. Okay.
That's my that was my dating profile back in the day.
3 out of 5
Far out of
stars.
my way, but it's neat enough.
Okay for you. If you see me in passing, give me a whirl.
What's
It's a little tiresome to get through the whole thing.
What's your mile radius that you're working?
So in other words,
come on. You're telling me like
it's a good.
We've all had that time, whether it's a date or like a friend hangout, where you're like, let's hang out. How far away are you? I don't know.
I had to give Eric
Well,
3.5 stars at least.
I'll take it. But it's funny because actually I just got the hardcover of Canto Bight this week from our fearless leader, Corey Helton. He had an extra because I said I wasn't going to do it, guys, but I am slowly transferring my entire collection to hardcover books. And I hate that I started it. 'Cause I know. Like, I'm on Thrift Books every week. Like, sure, I'll pay $6 for a book I own. But you do that like 30 times.
Yeah.
And, But anyway, I haven't read it, so that review makes me kind of want to. I guess, Paul.
It is a good nightstand read that I like to call, where you just read one story at a time every couple of days, or it's a good toilet read where you read when you're on the toilet.
Oh, thank you for explaining. I was curious.
I was
You
so
do
confused
need
there.
those. Yeah, I don't know how you do it in Texas. But everyone, if you want your toilet read reviews on this show, look up your book on utini.com, scroll down to the bottom of the page, add a star reading and a user review and a mile radius, and maybe we'll read it on this very show. All right, since we are not live, we have no merch ad read. Go to utini.com/merch, though. Buy those great shirts Jose has. And next week, at this point, we should have a shirt inspired by, from a certain point of view, The Empire Strikes Back. I have not seen it. Bet it's great, though. Bet it's going to cost me a lot of money. Haha, just kidding. A reasonable amount of money, because that's what we do here. All right. Reasonable. Not a... That's what you should say. Hey, do you want this $150 Thrawn book? No? Okay. Do you want this $25 T-shirt? Like, you start
think
there.
about how many shirts you could buy for that one book.
6.
It's amazing. Look at
That's
that.
it.
Look at that.
Quick
Sharp
maths.
with the goddamn
That's
tack.
it.
Quick maths.
All right. All right, everyone. You came here for a reason. We've made you wait long enough. Star Wars
Time for
Squadrons.
me to be abused.
That's right. Welcome
Abuse
to
me
the
like
goddamn
one of your French
Thunderdome.
girls.
Yeah, you're gonna abuse. We're gonna
Good
abuse
reference.
you like a lot of people abused me in my first 25 dogfights in Star Wars Squadrons. So Star Wars Squadrons came out a little while ago now. It's been a few weeks. So what I wanted to do today is kind of have a little roundtable discussion, guys, about this game. How are we liking it? Did it reach the expectations? What's its impact on the community, etc.? So I guess we'll start out with the bassist. Sage, I'm going to throw it to you first.
Okay.
What did you expect from Star Wars Squadrons before it came out? And in the time since you've played it, how have those expectations changed? And kind of what do you think of now when you think of Squadrons a few weeks in?
Okay. So, starting off, one of my favorite modes in Battlefront 2015 and Battlefront 2017 that I was really surprised about were the Starfighter modes.
Correct.
Growing up, I was a huge fan of the Rogue Squadron games, too, so that was really speaking to me. When I saw Squadrons was going to be released, I was like, ooh, Squadrons, you say. Oh, my.
Yeah. Totally.
So I've greatly been enjoying it. It's a really steep learning curve. Like the skill floor is quite high compared to other games, especially other Star Wars games. Like we don't really have many. Like if you go back to the NES games, yeah, those are really hard just because NES and SNES games were very hard. Also, Bounty Hunter's quite hard, but not in the same way. It's more for the types of games that they made back then rather than like the actual skill that they intended to set for it.
Sure.
So having a game that was made in like the 90s just because the technology was lower then and games were just harder to control back then versus a game where it was like you can actually be very skilled at that and learn the quirks of the game, learn the types of moves that you can do. Greatly enjoyed that.
Yeah, it is interesting. Like, we've gotten Battlefront 2 and Jedi Fallen Order, obviously, are the two biggest releases in the EA cycle. And I do feel like those games have been like, you can be great at them. Like, there are people on Battlefront 2, especially, as you know, and as we know, that, are just ridiculously good. Hundreds of levels, thousands of levels, and, like, that's a skill. But for the most part, like, you can have a good time. You can jump in and kind of figure it out. And Fallen Order, like, they really want you to feel powerful, clearly. Like, there's some tougher puzzles.
They have a different difficulty modes for it too, so it's like even if you are having struggle at the higher difficulties, you can set it down lower to enjoy just the story.
Exactly, which is great. I think that's one of the great things about gaming, especially as it's evolved. Like that, it's like the old school. RPGs will have a story only mode or a combat mode and all that kind of stuff. Squadrons, on the other hand, and Wes and Charles, tell me if you agree with this as well, kind of puts you in, and it's like you're bad. Deal with it. Get good, kid.
Yes. Yeah. I agree with you 100%.
War's over, yeah.
Well, I think it is tough to like pick it up and play, especially for someone like me. Speaking towards what you're saying is because it is a steep learning curve, and I don't have like that much time for gaming. So I need a game that I can, pick up and feel like I'm not dying every 5 seconds. And this is coming from a guy who, on the first time I played Jedi Academy, the opening level, you're in a forest and you have to cut down a tree to get across a river. And I cut down that tree and it fell on me and I died. So
I hate that tree so much.
I'm one of those gamers. And so Squadrons is not something that I can kind of approach easily. Like, it's a little bit stressful, but I see the I see the reward for it. I think there is a big payoff for the time that you put in and really learning how to play it and be effective. I think it's really immersive. It's probably one of the most immersive games that we've had for quite some time.
Yeah, it is interesting in the campaign. They make you this like faceless. You design a face, but you see it twice, ish. But they make you essentially this faceless pilot of Titan and Vanguard Squadron, and I think that's a really interesting choice because I agree in multiplayer and in single player. I really do feel like it's me doing these things. Like I am the pilot doing these things, and I think that is a stark difference to us playing as Cal Kestis, to us playing as these these ground troopers and starfighters in Battlefront, but then I'm a Vader player. I'm playing as Kylo Ren, Rey, etc. So, Sage, what do you think about that immersion? Because I feel like, especially in the multiplayer circuit, which I know you've played a ton of, and I want you to expand on, how does that affect the multiplayer circuit, if at all, to make people feel like they have a little more agency in how they're flying?
So I'm going to answer your question with a question. How have you guys felt with the forced first-person perspective? So this is the first Star Wars game that we've had under EA where you cannot choose a third-person view.
I was so afraid of this. I'm not going to lie. Because I love Starfighter Assault. Every time we'd play as Utini, I'd always force people to go into this mode because I loved it and I felt like I got decently good at it. And I was just like, okay, this is good. I got these mechanics. So when I saw this was all first person, I got freaked because Battlefront 2 had a first person mode, but you do it for 5 seconds and be like, cool, no, that's enough of that. But I was surprised at, I'd say after 7 to 10 hours. So honestly, after the campaign, because I did the campaign first before going to multiplayer, it didn't bother me. I actually felt pretty into it. I don't know. What about you guys?
Yeah, I didn't mind it at all. There are subtle differences between the starships, right? So I don't think you get as big a viewing area from a TIE fighter as you do, say, like an X-wing. So I tended on flying an X-wing over some of the Empire models just because I couldn't see as much. But other than that, I thought the first person, I liked the first person view. So it kind of, it puts you in the cockpit, right? If you felt like you were there flicking the controls, even though, in a sense that you weren't actually touching any of them. But if you have a HOTAS, which is a joystick and a throttle, which a lot of people have said.
They have a few friends with them, and oh my gosh, they love the immersion that brings to it.
Yeah, it says it really works well with this game.
It seems really cool, yeah.
So yeah, that part alone, I've seen people with 2 joysticks, with a left one and a right one, and they have like pedals for their feet, and I'm like, oh man, you spent $600 worth of equipment on a $40 game, but whatever. But I'm sure that they play like what are those combat simulator games? There's a couple
like flight simulators.
There's a couple of them that like they put up bed sheets in their room, and they have like basically the whole wall is their screen. They put it on projectors. I've seen. So
wow. God,
yeah.
Bless you, man. God, if you put that much work into it, you should feel goddamn elated when you're like if you like put a VR headset, like people that do double HOTAS in VR for Squadrons. Wow. I cannot fathom that you can ever be happy again, because if you do that well, you're in Star Wars. You did it.
I think my brain would explode trying to figure all of that out.
You have your friend come by and spray you with like a mist of water every once in a while, like
have like God, it would just be like, or like, I don't know, if I crash doing that, I might not be able to sleep because I think I would feel like I died.
No,
like I would feel like actual death.
It's like you're falling down a cliff or whatever when you're having a nightmare, just screaming, and you wake up, you're like, oh my God, I am fine.
Yeah. So I think to answer your question, I think the immersion is cool. It's unexpected and unique. I will say though, do you guys want another game? I know this is ridiculous. I hate talking about like future games as the game is a month old.
Don't worry.
We want this
that's what I'm here for.
Excellent, great. You'll take that.
I thought it was bullet. The abuse.
That's what potato tomato.
I wasn't aware of that abuse when I signed up for this.
It was on the outline.
Yeah, I did get that.
Do you guys want another game though that is like I know we had the VR, like Vader Immortal has the first person stuff.
Yeah,
but
all of the stuff that ILM X Lab's doing has been really well received. They just did a one called Galaxy's Edge, reviews from Galaxy's Edge or something like that. Those have been really, really good. Something that we've been talking about on our podcast, Uplink, we've rebranded to cover all of Star Wars games. Something we've been talking about is they have announced that they don't have any current plans for continued support for Squadrons, even though they released a Mandalorian drop, so that's kind of like you just got content for the game.
Yeah, that was interesting because this game also dropped with a $40 price point, right? Like $20 roughly cheaper than normal games, 2/3 the price or so. And the fact that the developers are like, we want to release just a full game.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, cool. My gut reaction is good. Like that's great because a lot of people's issues with Battlefront 2, why it never quite reached the apex of like say a Call of Duty or things like that. People were always kind of waiting for content drops. I mean, God, the memes about the content updates and all that stuff were ridiculous. And the fact that they're like, actually, this one is just a full game. Go have fun. This is the game. I thought was a good choice. Now, do I want a Clone Wars mode? Duh. Do I want a B-Wing? Yes.
So I think it's a double-edged sword there. So yes, you can, in theory, say, yeah, we want to release a game like in the 90s. We want to release a $40 game. You get the full experience. You don't have to pay any more for cosmetics. You don't have to pay for any new content. Yeah, that's great in theory, but when you get into that, it works great in a single-player game. Like if Fallen Order came out and was like, yeah, we're releasing this for $40. It's just a set game, which basically it was if you don't count the like arena mode that they released. But when you release a multiplayer game in 2020, it's hard to expect a continued community after a certain point without support. So that's kind of something that we've been on the fence about. It would be that's great in theory, but also like I want more experiences, more maps would be great. I would love to see more cosmetics added. That would be a great way to continue it. And most importantly, if we could only get one more update, what I would want most of all would be private matches.
I like this game. Yes. Private matches. Oh, God. You're saying these things, and I'm realizing I've kind of put this stuff in my head anyway, but that is technically updates. You're right. Like, private matches, we've talked at UTini a bunch about this in various Discord servers because, we want to play with our friends. And if you have 5 friends, you're done. Like, if you have
it's
8
great
friends,
if you have 5 friends. If it's
But if you have 10,
or 4 friends, it's great if you have only 4 friends. But most people don't have only 4 friends; they have more than that.
Yeah. Hey, and if you only have 4 friends, we love you. We're your new friend.
You've got 7 now.
That's right. But yeah, that's a great point. Private matches, I think, is really a no-brainer. But I also want to ask, guys, if we're playing this, the hypothetical games, right? If you could get one content drop, and let's say this is like different maps, different actual ships, different cosmetics, what's on your wish list? What do we want?
I mean, you kind of just said this, but going back to Battlefront, all of the Clone Wars stuff, like, really did kind of bring me back into it. Like, I had a whole second wave of, like, love and appreciation for that game, and I spent a whole bunch more time on it. Yeah, and so I think bringing in different eras is a great way to keep people interested because they are so different and yet so similar and inherently linked. You don't have to change, anything about the base game. It's just all essentially cosmetics. But then you bring in different generations, right? Because, most of us were like prequel kids, but if you've got OT stuff, you've got sequel stuff, you can bring in just entirely different, almost fandoms within the fandom.
Yeah, and I haven't played too much of Squadrons, but are we able to fly like the Millennium Falcon? Are we able to fly Boba Fett's ship? Are we able like we had in Battlefront 2?
It's more towards the experience of being a fighter, like a regular trooper, rather than being the hero of the story.
Star Wars Squadrons, be regular.
Be regular.
That was the first tag.
Well, that would be something interesting to where you played enough to where you leveled up enough where you were able to unlock, say, the Millennium Falcon or even Dooku's ship. Even that's the funniest thing.
Oh my God, the Sun Sailor!
So
I can't see shit.
Question inside of a question. We don't get in this scenario. We don't get any more content for Squadrons. How would you feel if they got a Squadrons 2 and it was Clone Wars, and then they had a Squadrons 3 that was original trilogy?
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
Like, because honestly, part of my thoughts about modern gaming, because you're absolutely right, Sage. To get a constant base, you got to have upgrades. That's the whole reason why Warzone exists. That's the whole reason Fortnite keeps having seasons.
Why Apex is so popular.
Exactly. So, but I think if they would do that and just release Squadrons 2, Squadrons 3 for $40 each, like you're saying, that's essentially like, if you want to think about it, an $80 season pass. And that also tells me that, for my moral compass, that means the devs are at least getting paid to make stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think that, having devs kind of rely on cosmetic packs and all these things are where you get your whole, is it currency gambling or 12-year-olds just running up their parents' Apple Pay a bunch? Like, that's the whole thing. But if it's just, we're going to release 3 full games, they're going to be this price, but they will have the content.
Yeah.
I'd be down with that. I think that makes sense. And I think that being said, it might be an outdated model. Unfortunately. Like, I mean, I bought Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo 4. Like, I played that game.
So the problem with something like that is problem with like season pass expansion packs in the current day and age, and that's why we've moved away from it in the game industry, is because in Battlefront 2015 we had the base game and people only played the base game, and then there was a subset of the community that paid for the first season pass. And then there's a subset of the community that paid for the second season pass. And just because you paid for the second season pass doesn't mean you paid for the first season pass or the first DLC expansion. So it splits up the community in a really bad way. That's why we've moved towards live service.
Yeah, where it's like it's all free, technically free content, but it's the paying for crystals or whatever your cosmetic tool of choice.
And that's where Battlefront 2 really failed, is because it had a crap ton of great content. Really, it took a turn, had a 180 turn there. Like, it was a rough launch. And then by the end of the game, it was one of the best, I would say the best Star Wars video game experience that we have. In terms of scope of the game, it had lots of problems, obviously. And if you'd like to learn more about the tough launch, you can listen to episode 200 of the Battlefront Podcast, where I interviewed, I had 9 interviews. It was a 3-week process, and I put together a documentary that's 52 to 54 minutes long about the whole scope of Battlefront 2.
It's dope as hell. Go right now. Plug.
I totally recommend it. I think I plugged that a couple of weeks ago on one of our podcasts here, because I just got done listening to it, so it's really good.
It was super fun to put together. But I think that was really struggle, is they had this great content, but they had no way to pay for it. Like, you paid for the first game and then the Celebration Edition, but there was no way to continue giving the team money.
Right.
So basically they were just paying, they were putting all this work to bring in new players, and that's kind of rough because you reach a plateau there.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, if Squadrons also, would go forward with some cosmetic stuff, it'd be cool, because then I think Star Wars is also at its best in gaming when they kind of embrace the silly along with the series. Like, 90+% of your fan base isn't playing it just for the immersion. Like, we're playing because we like the gameplay. So I think things like, some of the skins now are very fun, and like the hood ornament stuff is perfect.
It's fantastic.
Because, okay, does an A-Wing pilot actually have a gonk droid in his... No! But did I want one? Yes! So, like, I think that's the way to do it. I mean, give me a freaking... People are going to pay for a Jar Jar bauble. Of course they will, So, do you think, Sage, based on the wording that they've given so far, and given the fact that, like you said, there's a Mandalorian drop already.
Yeah.
Do you think they're actually kind of like saying, oh, well, we didn't mean cosmetic, and they will actually be supporting it?
So I think that it's ultimately going to come down to the sales. Like, if it's a very successful game, which I really hope it does so we can get more content. If it is a successful game, yes, they're going to continue making content for it. they were projecting, I think, around 3 or 4 million sales. So
Okay.
a lot lower. To put this in perspective, for Battlefront 2015, they expected sales to be, I think it was 12 million. And then for Jedi Fallen Order, they put forward, I think, 9 million or so.
Mm-hmm.
And around the same for Battlefront 2. So they're projecting that this will sell a lot lower copies right off the bat.
It's more of a specialized experience anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel
very
like,
niche.
Yeah, because that's what I feel like is what I've been seeing about Squadrons. Like, not everyone wants to play it. It's not as universal. But, man, the people, especially on Twitter and on Reddit and stuff that are really playing Squadrons, freaking love it. Because if you're into this kind of game, it was really made incredibly well.
Yeah.
You know?
On that front, do you mind if I talk a little about esports?
Not in the slightest. Please do.
So, historically, there has never really been an esports community for Star Wars video games. Obviously, there's a whole community for speedrunning, but that's a completely different thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first where it's like they set it up. They announce 5v5. Boom. That's fantastic for esports.
Mm-hmm.
But then they shot themselves in the head, in the leg. I would say head too.
Shot themselves right in the head.
Right in the head.
Shut it down.
Because they didn't bring private matches, and that's been a huge sore point for all of the momentum for esports. So I was a part of the Operation Ace esports event. That was the first.
That was so freaking cool.
That was the first esports event for Star Wars Squadrons, and I'm currently going through the second esports event for Star Wars Squadrons called the Creator Clash, where it's a bunch of content creators in the Star Wars gaming community come together, battle it out. But each of these had to take a different approach than you would normally expect. So
right, because you
esports
can't
and
just
Rocket
say, all right,
really,
like these 5 creators versus these 5 creators, because it's all random. You don't know who you're going to fight.
Exactly. Like, I can't put together a team of like 4 plus me and go against someone like Wolf who put together a team of 4. How that one's working, the Creator Clash, is we are putting together our teams. We're playing in a specific set window and then counting how many kills. They have like a whole algorithm. How many kills, how many deaths, how much capital ship damage you did, if you won or lost, and that's all put together and given a score, and you take that score against the person you're bracketed against. And then Operation Ace did a completely different thing. If anyone listening to this has not seen Operation Ace, take a look at that and you'll see how well an esports event can be run. Like, fantastic production. For that one, it was a bunch of creators. It was an invitational, put together teams, and then played for 5 hours straight and then counted how many wins they got, and that's how they placed overall. And then they also had commendations. So who did the most capital ship damage won a bundle. Who did the most kills won a bundle. So that's how that one was run. So you've got these 2 different approaches, and it would just be so much easier if they put forth private matches.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Now, do you feel like you favored one of those more than another? Because I know Alex Damon, friend of the show, was in that as well, and he made a couple videos about Operation Ace and mentioned how it was a cool format, but definitely in the last hour or 2, you could see people just starting to filter a little bit, because 5 hours straight of Squadrons
It's a lot of adrenaline.
It's a lot going all at once, especially when you're not just playing against teams you know. Do you think that the Creator Clash format is a little more beneficial, or do you think it's a little apples to oranges?
I think it's a bit apples to oranges. Each one has bonuses. Like one is Operation Ace is a lot of chance because you can get paired against empty lobbies, and that would still count as a win. And the Creator Clash is a lot more towards skill. So obviously, me being a terrible player, I did prefer one over the other.
We take our bonuses where we can.
I'm very anxious to see where Uplink Squadron places, so we'll see. But I think each of them has bonuses. I greatly enjoyed the production of Operation Ace. It was a great time to be had being a part of that. But all of these takes on esports with Squadrons would be so much easier and so much better for the overall community if we had private matches. Because let's say, so right now it takes a lot of effort. The guys, Boomstick over at Operation Ace had a crap ton of work, had a whole team put together, legit production style for the esports. And then friends of mine, Sammy Boy and Arcross, put together the Legions. They were planning this for 2 months straight. Leading up to this, they basically had Discord voice chats every single day planning this out. So it takes a lot of effort. And if private matches were a thing, you and I could put together a team like, okay, we're doing an event right now. Mm-hmm. It's Uplink Squadron versus Utini Squadron. Who's going to win?
All right, you have heard it here first, everyone. The second private matches are announced. Uplink and Utini tournament.
We gotta go.
It's happening.
Yeah. Partnership, let's rock and roll.
Sounds
Dude,
so fun.
It makes so much sense. And honestly, because of that, though, do you, in your seasoned opinion, because obviously, Sage, you know so much about this community. You've seen it in its evolutions, both in Star Wars and gaming and combined. Do you think there is a world where they don't make private matches?
Definitely, because Battlefront 2015 had private matches. It was super, super fun. I got a bunch of friends together to get the bare minimum and Walker Salt, so we could just go around and look at things, like see what's going on and enjoy the work that they put into it. Battlefront 2015, Battlefront 2 2017, 2017 to 2020, no private matches. So there's already precedent of them with the community really wanting private matches and them not giving it. And it's a completely different team. What gives me hope with Squadrons, though, is we have crossplay.
Right, which has been, I gotta say, I have never played a crossplay title myself. I've been an Xbox boy till I die. I did buy a PS5, but I've been honestly pretty surprised at how seamless it's been, which might speak to my ignorance in gaming, because I feel like we were always sold a bill of goods of like, oh, it's so hard to crossplay, and we're not doing it because of the technology. And now I'm like, you just didn't want to share money?
Yeah.
Is that really what happened?
Microsoft and Xbox have been a huge proponents. Even Nintendo, which is super surprising, have been super huge proponents of crossplay because it's good as a consumer. Like, it benefits everyone that plays the game. The only thing it doesn't benefit is the company that runs it, because then PlayStation can't be like, we have exclusive stuff over here. We want to protect the children on our platform because we don't want Minecraft being played on other consoles. Because, those Nintendo players are quite inappropriate. We don't want our players playing with the Nintendo players.
You know, those Mario fans.
Yeah.
They're damn Super Smash Brothers mouths. I've heard them before.
Wash them out with soap. Goddamn. Although I gotta say, I played some Smash in college, and some of the things I said definitely weren't meant for children's ears. So I can understand a little bit, but yeah, that's But you're right. It is kind of interesting how some companies are realizing that you can make money in other ways if the community likes you, because now that we have access to developers on Twitter, we have access to developers on Reddit. Like, people like companies because of their personalities.
Yeah.
Like CD Projekt Red, for example, is going through a thing now where they've stabbed me in the heart 3 times this year by delaying Cyberpunk 2077. But
and
a lot of people are like,
twisted the knife when they said, "Oh yeah, we're making our people work 100-hour weeks and not be able to see their family and then stay at home." And
Nestle Crunch. It's not great. But I think there is a part where you have people come out and say, "Hey, we'll crossplay because we care about you." Then I, as a consumer, am way more like, "Oh, cool. Then I will definitely pay $5 for a cosmetic pack because I'm not mad at you."
It also makes you more platform agnostic, because I can play.
Like that phrase.
Yeah. So you can play with friends. Like, if I'm on PC and I want to play with my brothers on Xbox, I can do that on Apex. I can do that on Squadrons. I can do that on these games. And we've been streaming every Saturday. I play Star Wars games, play other games. Been rocking out Among Us recently. Dude, that game is so freaking fun. But a lot of the people in the chat are like, "Man, I wish I could play with you, but I have something that's not PC."
Yep.
And that's what I've been noticing. Like, even in the Utini Discord gaming channels, we made up Xbox and PlayStation specific, tags. And now with Squadrons, you don't need that. It's just like, hey, we're on Squadrons. Here's the EA IDs.
Yeah.
And that's all we need. Like when we did Utini Game Night a couple weeks ago, me and Andrew Bell were playing. He was on PS4. I was on Xbox. It's like, all right, great. Doesn't matter.
It's beautiful.
It's like the end of episode 1. That's what it feels like. It's the unity.
Who are the Gungans?
That's what
Who are the
crossplay is.
Gungans in this scenario? I have to know.
Oh, the PS4 player. Oh, Padme, bitch, don't you forget.
Exclusives!
Last of Us 2. But on a non-technical note, though, I also want to ask you guys, for our friends that have been playing, that are listening, or that have been watching streams or whatever, everyone's probably got their preferences as we've been playing more. Like, you found the ships you like, you found the different maps you like. Charles, I'm going to start with you. First of all, do you like playing New Republic better, or do you like playing the Empire better?
So I think I like New Republic better, and I think I just like the feel of the X-Wing more. And I don't know, I think it actually might be a little bit of a subconscious thing, even from reading the books.
Totally.
Like back from Rogue Squad, I feel so vulnerable in that TIE fighter, man. I'm like, I know these things don't have shields. Like, I know, like, I'm done for, you know? And if you have that,
so true.
if you have that mentality going into a war, I mean, go ahead and just don't even go. Don't even go. So yeah, New Republic.
It is true. Like, even when I started playing it, Charlie would come in and see me playing, and she's like, "You're in a TIE fighter? Those things are made of tinfoil." I'm like, "I own the game." Yeah, you're right. But if you're in a New Republic, Charles, what are you flying? What is your what ship has been? Because you say you like the X-wing. Does the A-wing, Y-wing, U-wing feel better to you practically, or is
I guess I'm just kind of a classic guy. I like the X-Wing. I think it's awesome that you can play all the different types. And I know we've talked about this on the old episodes, like which ship would we fly when we were in Alphabet Squadron, right? And I think I got Y-Wing. I think my personality was Y-Wing, but I've been flying the X-Wing more than anything.
It's a super solid ship, and there's definitely some good builds you got. Wes, same to you. Are you flying true? Are you a traitorous Imperial like your Houston Astros baseball team? What are you feeling?
As much as I want to go with my gut and be a traitorous Houston Astros baseball fan, I really wanted to play with the Empire ships, but I mean, I always got shot down in them like really quick, and that's probably due to partly to my skill and another part to not having all my buttons mapped to my joystick. I mean, so on a side note here, I researched the shit out of a joystick for this game. All right, so there are joysticks that range from $600 down to $30. Now, I picked up a VKB. It's like it basically looks just like a flight stick you'd find in a cockpit, like in a fighter jet or something. But it wasn't too terribly expensive. So I was like, you know what, this is a good looking stick. I'm gonna try to use this. And when we got the game, when I first saw the game controls, I think Alex Damon had sent a diagram of what the controls were actually going to be on. It showed the damn Microsoft Sidewinder joystick that was only like $40, and I was like, shit, man, I paid over $100 for the one that I have. And not only that, I got I don't know if y'all noticed, but on the midnight release, I bought the Maverick bomber jacket to wear while I was playing, and so now I have this stupid jacket in there that I don't even play this game anymore that much, and I should. But going off of that tangent, the B-wing is probably the ship that I was getting the most kills on, if you could say I was getting any kills, because I was just...
Well, the B-wing's not in the game, so I don't think that's it.
Sorry, not the B-wing, the Y-wing.
There it is.
I was dropping Bs on...
So the bomber.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, dropping
on capital
Bs,
ship, because that was probably the easiest thing to do, right? It's just to target in on the capital ship and then drop some bombs on.
Because you had one button that worked on your joystick, and it was to drop the payload.
Literally the first day, instead of the trigger on a joystick that you would think would shoot like laser cannon fire, that did not work. It was some button like on the back of the joystick that I was pressing while I was flying with my other hand. So it was.
So instead of pew pew pew, it went boo boo boo.
It was
the pew boom.
It was definitely stressful, and I couldn't figure out whether I liked inverted or non-inverted, and I kept going up. I mean, that gameplay's still on Twitch. You can see it took me damn near 45 minutes to get through the beginning like pre-flight before you actually get into the damn game. So I had a rough time.
Well, we'll have to have
had a rough time, Eric.
We'll have a UTini Twitch stream where all of us just hang out and help Wes map his buttons. That'll be the whole time. Sage, what about you, man?
Bomber all the way. I'm gonna go against all you guys and go pro Empire here. So I'm a Rebels guy. I'm Rebel hardcore all the way. The orange blood flows through my veins here.
Beautiful.
But I love the TIE bomber.
The TIE bomber seems to be like just one that, like, once you get kind of decent at squadrons, I feel like people pick up the bomber and then just get immaculately good with it.
Yeah. Well, the bomber's super overpowered, so there's part of it, but
See, that's detail I didn't know.
Yeah, it's probably the most overpowered class in squadrons. Like, you can beef it up really hardcore. There is a loadout. I don't personally know it off the top of my head, but there's a loadout with A-Wing where you can get it, or it's either the A-Wing or the X-Wing. You can get the X-Wing as fast as the A-Wing, or you can get the A-Wing as strong as the X-Wing. It's one of those two. So there's a strategy there. But I do really enjoy. One of the reasons, too, is because I don't have to worry about shields.
Yeah.
It's only okay, am I fast or am I shooty?
Yep.
That's it.
And
less buttons.
Do you use the shields? Do you power up your shields whenever you're getting shot at? Do you depower them? Do you use?
I do. When I'm playing Rebels, I do. I'm still figuring out the drifting. Some friends of mine are really good at drifting, but I'm still working it out. Question for you guys. I know Wes has a joystick, but are you guys on PC? And if you are on PC, do you play controller or mouse and keyboard?
I am on Xbox myself,
Okay.
so I've been always controller.
I'm on Xbox as well.
But this game with keyboard mouse, I guess because of its, you can use the HOTAS on it, it seems like it might work a little better, but
So I've got an Xbox controller connected to my PC because generally in flight games, controller works better. Unless it's specifically designed for mouse and keyboard. I've never even played Squadrons with mouse and keyboard.
Good. I mean, I feel like this is the type of game, because the learning skill is so high, I feel like once you got your kind of muscle memory, you got to stick with it. Which is why I am an A-Wing pilot. I love my New Republic. I was going to be A-Wing first. When I first started the game.
We get it, Will.
He's my boy. He's my soul. But I died so much with the A-Wing, and I went to X-Wing for a while because there's just so many more hull points. It's ridiculous. But lately, once I've realized what my actual role is in dogfights and like fleet battles, as opposed to trying to I'm going to take on a Star Destroyer as an A-Wing. Don't.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun, and I absolutely adore that shit.
So I'm gonna drop a couple tips here for fleet battles. Usually when I hop in for fun, I play dogfights. Just because I prefer the shorter game mode, but I've been playing a lot of fleet battles recently. A good strategy if you want to continue playing, I would say not dying is as important as getting kills, because you need to keep up your morale. So not dying and going after AI is super, super important, and you wouldn't think that just like going into it.
Yeah, that's been one of the big things as an A-Wing, too, is like, all right, we're on the team. I'm going to kill all these, because you can kill AI ships so easily, especially I know you do your TIE bomber with those automatic locking missiles.
Yep.
All right, here's 3 free kills. Done. It was absolutely great. Any other big tips we got for people as we're wrapping up here? If they're like either are starting squadrons, if they're like, I want to be a little better at squadrons, what's some wisdom you can drop on them?
Something I would definitely put people before you even play Squadrons. Go into it being like, okay, this is completely different than if you play Battlefront, Starfighter Assault. Go into it like this is a completely different type of game. Don't go into it expecting the same results. Just go in with a blank slate because that's going to be super valuable to you. Make sure it is a little confusing at first, but make sure you do charge up your either your weapons, your speed, or your shields, because those can be extremely valuable when it comes down to it. So I would definitely keep an eye on those things.
And make sure you
If
know
you want,
where
like,
your repair button is. Because...
Yes.
Yes. Prepare yourself. Also, if you're Wes, make sure you know what your buttons do.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Also, very key, high-level strategy.
Might I suggest
that's kind of just a life suggestion.
Know where your
That's
buttons
deep,
are.
man. Know where your buttons are and know who's gonna push them. Well, hey, before we get on out of here and wrap up with some things, I do want to take a quick detour and tell you guys about some podcast and UTini updates we got coming up. Wes, you are doing UTini Game Night tomorrow, and this isn't live. So, how was it?
If you're joining me for UTini Game Night, then we're talking about it from the past. So, if you,
it was fantastic.
Yeah,
I love that one maneuver you used. That was fantastic.
Oh, that was cool.
I was so impressed.
You couldn't tell you didn't know
Really
what your
amazing.
buttons did. You couldn't tell at all.
If you like the way that I slid down the ice, or that I shot that blaster, or the way I steered that starship, then there's more coming your way. Let me tell you. So I hope I'll throw out. Man, that's really weird to talk about now that we haven't done it yet. But when this comes out on Thursday and Friday, it's already happened. So I had a great time, I'm sure. So
yeah, well, keep your eyes out. Again, twitch.tv/UTini_US, where we usually do this show every Monday night. UTini Game Night is still going. There will be some squadroning, I am sure. And with all these new tips, we should hopefully be a little better. It's been great seeing people improve, which I think has been fun, which is what you should do.
It's super satisfying.
Yeah, the victories are like, yeah! Ah! Like I do feel a little better on
if
those.
you get some friends in there and like you pull it out. I got into a dogfight with some friends, and we were all voice chat in Discord, and we pulled it out we got into the game, and they were at the other team was most of the way done. The other team had 25 kills, and then we had 15, and we pulled the victory.
Nice.
It feels so good. It feels so good. So if you want to see Wes feel good, UTini Game Night, check it out. Additionally, if you're listening to this on our Patreon feed, tonight it's Legends Look Back Night. Make sure you tune in for that. Jared and Freddie C. and their rotating squad of guests and new producer Meg Dowell are talking Thrawn lately, so make sure you check in there. They had a Halloween episode as well. Always a good time over there, and make sure you subscribe to their separate podcast feed. Saturdays, we got our Conjure Book Club, where they're going through Kenobi by John Jackson Miller right now.
Kenobi!
That's the one. That's the guy. With Timothy, Patrick, and Adam every Saturday in Discord, and also coming out on the Patreon feed. December will be one of the Age of limited comic runs. Age of Republic, Age of Rebellion, one of those. There's a poll in Discord right now, so go head over to the Conjure Book Club Discord channel and vote. And their January book will be Light of the Jedi, the High Republic novel. They're going to get to it before our official UTini Roundtable.
Oh, wow.
So a lot coming your way. Finally, update, UTini Fantasy Football League. I got to give massive props to James Carsoni, who is the undisputed number one of our league, who did just lose George Kittle, though, as of this recording. So good luck, James, but you're 5-2. You're going to be fine. All right, final things, my friends. Over on Patreon, we got episodes coming out. As we said earlier, Lightspeed Skipping is on hiatus until the end of The Mandalorian, but Bounty Hunt is coming out every single Monday. The Ghost Crew with me and Charlie is coming out every other Wednesday, and Calf Faves with Meg and Heather is coming out every other week as well. Tons of content, tons of great Star Wars stuff. Couldn't be happier.
The value is undeniable.
Oh, God, all right, clip that. That's what we need. That's the tag. Sage, where can everyone find everything you're doing with Uplink, everything you're doing with the show, all your streams? Tell everybody.
Okay, like I said, we rebranded into Uplink. We're still figuring things out, still making sure everything's smooth and everyone knows that we're rebranded. But you'll be able to find us on YouTube, youtube.com/the Star Wars Battlefront Podcast. We are on Twitter at SWB Podcast. And we recently started a Twitch account, just Uplink Podcast, twitch.com/Uplink Podcast. In December, we'll be doing daily streams.
Wow.
So
Nice.
Daily streams.
Daily streams.
Awesome.
Daily December. So those are the ways that you can find us. It's also Uplink or Battlefront Podcast. You can search in your favorite podcast app, and we will show up.
Love it. Well, can't wait to hear, again, more thoughts on all the Star Wars gaming news. I'm so optimistic.
You need
about
to
the
reach
future of
out
Star
more.
Wars gaming.
I don't see you guys all that often.
It was great to see you, man, and to hear that voice. I'll tell you
Yeah.
what.
Yeah.
We can miss your energy, man. We will. I feel like I got to say, this last quarter of 2020, if we can have a moment of real time, has been like my turtling time. I feel like I've been very much like, I want to be in myself. I'm very scared of a lot of things going on.
I think turtling means something different down here in the South.
100%.
Listen,
Less
you gotta
than I
fix a couple things about the South. Let's put that on the list, shall we?
So you may not be able to tell it from my accent, but I was born in Hot Springs, Arkansas, boys.
Hell
So
yeah.
Sage knows what we're talking about.
Sui.
Wait, Razorbacks then? Is that you?
That was our family growing up. I've tried to, as you can tell, kill most of this. let the past die. Kill it if you have to.
Well, you can never kill that great Southern charm. I'll tell you what. That's with all three of you guys. My overly polite Midwestern face really appreciates it. So we will definitely be hanging out more as the year goes on. I'm so excited for this. Just
Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga coming out.
Yes.
Yes! Oh my gosh!
Heather's
my
gonna
God.
be
You want to
thrilled.
talk about? Heather's gonna have so much fun with that, and we're gonna definitely have a lot of streams on both Utini and Uplink for all of that. Pre-order your games, because the more Star Wars games pre-order, the more Star Wars games we get. Yes.
Everyone buy
Simple math.
Squadrons. Even if you don't play it, buy it so we can get more content.
Yes, please. We'll see you out there, and my friends, we will see you on the Twitter. We'll see you in the Discord, because that will do it for this week's episode of The Living Force. If you are already supporting us on Patreon, thank you. We appreciate it. A special thank you especially to Cheryl Bell and Patrick Ortiz on our Jedi High Council, and Kyle Hickman, Freddie C., and Sally and Chris Eilerson on our Alliance High Command for their amazing support. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Eric Eilerson. Corey is at Doc Stories MD when he's here. Charles is at C. Henkel. Wes is at Boss Wes. And one more time, Sage is...
SWB Podcast.
Boom! A special thank you to Matt Davenport, our amazing editor, Ryan, our graphic designer extraordinaire, and Wes, our producer and community manager. I'm glad you didn't have to do too many buttons tonight, man.
I touched a
Nice
couple.
night. Thank you to Charles, Wes, and Sage for podcasting with me, and to all of you
Getting
listening.
abused, and he's over there
May
touching
the
buttons.
Force be with you. I really hope we're really happy when this drops. Bye!
There is no hatred. There is joy. There is no division. There is union. There is no apathy. There is passion. There is no gatekeeping. There is community. This is the Utini Star Wars Fan Code. Embrace it, live by it, and above all, trust in the living force. That's all for this week. Join our community and surround yourself with like-minded fans by visiting us online at utini.com. Until next time, may the force be with you.